Good afternoon. My name is Cherisa Henderson, and today I will be talking with you about the proposed changes to the serving size section of the nutrition facts label. First, let's start with the poll question. How many people think that the current serving size on the nutrition facts label is based on a recommended amount of a product that consumers should aim to eat during a meal, or B, the average amount of a food product that people usually eat during a meal? Let's turn to the next slide and find out. The correct answer is B. The serving size is based on the average amount of food that people usually eat during a meal. Many people believe that the serving size on the label is a recommended amount, such as the recommended servings that are on my plate. This is not true. Serving size are based on the average amount eaten. The average is determined using National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, or NHANES data. On the screen is the definition of serving size that is found in the regulations. During this presentation, we will be talking a lot about serving size and RACs. RAC stands for the reference amount customarily consumed. It is a number established by FDA that manufacturers use to determine the serving size you see on the label. The serving size is the actual number that you see on a product package. FDA determines the RAC while manufacturers determine the serving size. As you know, FDA has published two proposed rules, the Nutrition Facts Proposed Rule and the Serving Size Proposed Rule. FDA is publishing a separate proposed rule for serving size because it is so critical. All the information on the label is based on the serving size. The amount of calories and all other nutrients will change when the serving size changes. This is a problem because sometimes people don't realize that a product has more than one serving and only look at the nutrition information. When this happens, it may lead consumers to believe they are consuming a certain amount of calories and other nutrients when they are not. On the left side of the screen is a standard nutrition label with a serving size of 1 cup and 2 servings per container. Let's look at the chart on the right side of the screen. You can see this column shows 1 serving and a serving size of 1 cup. This column shows the serving size based on eating the entire package. As you can see, the calories and other nutrients double if you were to eat the entire package. So why is serving size important to a manufacturer? If a manufacturer wants to make a label claim on their product, such as saying that a product is low in fat or high in calcium, the RAC used to calculate the serving size is also used as the basis to determine if the product meets the standards for the claim. The current regulations for serving size are over 20 years old. They were established in 1993 as a result of the Nutrition Labeling and Education Act of 1990. The Act gave FDA the authority to provide nutrition labeling on packaged foods based on a serving size, which is an amount customarily consumed. This was the first time the FDA had the authority to provide mandatory labeling on food products. Serving size is based on the amount of food that a person usually consumes. The agency looked at NHANES data to determine the average or mean amount that a person eats of a particular product. FDA creates the RAC based on what data says is the average amount consumed. Manufacturers use the rack to create the serving size for their products. For example, the rack for potato chips and other snack products is 2 ounces, but a manufacturer may sell a bag of chips that has a serving size of 2.5 ounces because of variations in the size of the product and the packaging. Manufacturers don't have to make a product that has a serving size that is exactly the size of the rack, but it should be as close to the rack as possible. So why should we update the racks? As I said earlier, racks are based on the amount of food people usually eat. In the last 20 years, since the serving size regulations were first created, the amount of food that people usually consume has changed. In addition, there is newer research on how people use and understand the food label. Research shows that people think that the nutrition facts label of certain products applies to the whole package, even if the label tells you otherwise. FDA has also received requests from manufacturers to either add new racks or change existing racks of certain products. In 2005, FDA issued an advance notice of proposed rulemaking, asking for public comment on the serving size regulations, including the definition of a single serving container, dual column labeling, and updating the racks. The public comments that we received were considered when drafting this proposed rule. FDA is making 3 major changes in the proposed rule. This is to amend the definition of a single serving container, require dual column labeling for certain packages, and update, modify, and establish racks for some food products. The current definition of a single serving container is as shown on the screen. The most important part of this definition for this proposed rule is the option to allow a manufacturer to label certain products as 1 or 2 servings. This is important for products such as a 12-ounce can of soda. The rack for soda is currently 8 ounces. Under the current regulations, a manufacturer can label a 12-ounce soda as having either 1 or 2 servings if the soda is packaged in a container between 12 and 16 ounces. Manufacturers also have the option of labeling a product as a single serving if they feel that they can reasonably consume it in a single sitting, regardless of the size of the rack. Using the soda example again, a 12-ounce bottle of soda is currently 2.5 servings, but a manufacturer can choose to label it as a single serving if they feel it can be consumed by one person at one time. Our analysis for this proposed rule has determined that a consumer eats about the same amount of product in a single serving of a large rack product compared to a single serving of a smaller rack product. The results of this analysis have led us to remove the caveat for large rack products in this proposed rule. FDA is proposing that all packages that are less than 200% of the rack be considered a single serving. FDA is also eliminating the provision allowing packaged foods that are over 200% of the rack to be labeled as a single serving. Currently, manufacturers can voluntarily provide dual column labeling for a few different reasons. Dual column labeling is labeling that shows the nutrition information on the package of 2 or more forms of the same food. In the picture, you see a dual column label for pancake mix that shows nutrition information for the dry mix only or as packaged, and for the serving of pancakes prepared according to package directions. This label is beneficial because the agency is required to show the nutrition information as packaged, but it is also helpful to show nutrition information in the way the product is most commonly consumed. Manufacturers can also provide dual column labeling for foods commonly combined with other ingredients. The example on the screen is a label of cereal. The first column shows nutrition information for the dry cereal. The second column shows nutrition information for the cereal with milk. FDA conducted consumer research to help enhance our understanding of whether and how much modifications to the label format may help consumers use the label. The study compared participants' ability to perform various tasks, such as evaluating products' healthfulness and calculating the number of calories and other nutrients per serving and per container, when using the current label versus modified versions of the current label, and compared participants' overall attitudes toward these labels. The result of the study found that dual column labels resulted in more participants correctly identifying the number of calories per container and the amount of other nutrients per container and per serving. In another study, participants were given a snack food product and either a single column nutrition label or dual column nutrition label. Findings from the study suggested that dual column labeling led consumers who are not dieting to reduce the amount of food they consumed. FDA is proposing to require products and packages that contain at least 200% of the rack and up to and including 400% to use a dual column label. The dual column label would present nutrition information per serving and per container. It is intended for products that can be consumed as one serving or as multiple servings. Study results and comments to the ANPRM have revealed that some consumers find the label to be confusing. FDA received comments about convenience foods or foods that you eat on the go, such as a 20-ounce bottle of soda and or a 3-ounce bag of chips. Commenters thought that the labels on these products were confusing because they were foods that they believed to be a single serving, but were actually multiple servings. Adding dual column labels to these products should allow for nutrition information for people who eat the entire contents of a product in one serving and people who share the product or eat it over time. Some products would be exempt from using dual column labeling. Reasons for exempting products are that it is an item that is not usually consumed by one person at one time, such as bulk products like flour and butter, or does not have enough room on the label for a dual column label, such as a small pack of gum. Another reason a product would not have to use a dual column label listing nutrition information per serving and per container is that it already has dual column using one of the formats that I mentioned earlier. FDA also requested comments on other options for dual column labeling. These options are using dual columns for calories only or using dual columns for calories, saturated fat, and sodium only. In these options, the information listed per serving and per container would be beneath the serving size information, and the remaining nutrients would be listed on a per serving basis in a single column. As I stated earlier, the racks are based on the amount of food people customarily consume. The data that was used to determine what the racks currently are is from 1977 to 1978 and 1987 to 1988. There are 11 product categories for infants and children, 1 to 3 years of age, and 129 product categories for individuals 4 years and older. Having the same rack for similar products helps consumers to make easy comparisons. For example, fruit juice and fruit drink that are not 100% fruit juice have the same racks so that a consumer can pick up a nutrition label and compare the two products based on the same serving size. Other factors considered when developing the current racks are dietary guidance documents, such as the Dietary Guidelines for Americans, industry practice, and public comments. Reasons for updating the racks are that FDA has newer consumption data now than in 1978 that was used to develop the current serving size. FDA is also adding racks for products that are not currently in the tables. Many new products have come on the market since the serving sizes were first developed. In the proposed rule, FDA uses the term update, modify, and establish racks. Racks are updated when consumer data for a current rack show a significant increase or decrease from the 1993 racks. A significant increase or decrease is a change of 25% or more from the current rack. Racks are modified when consumption data does not significantly increase or decrease from the 1993 rack, but instead are based on requests from manufacturers and agency initiatives. Establishing racks is simply assigning a product that does not have a rack to the appropriate product category, or in some cases, creating a new product category. These are the data sources used to help update, modify, and establish racks. The primary data source is NHANES. The method used to analyze each product within a product category was to calculate the minimum sample size, estimate the mean, and then determine if there was a significant increase or decrease in consumption levels from the 1993 racks. The factors considered for updating the 1993 racks were similar to those considered when the racks were first created. Products that are used the same way, have similar product characteristics, and are used interchangeably have similar racks. Here is a summary of existing racks that are being updated. There was a significant increase in consumption data for bagels, toaster pastries, and muffins. For all beverages in the beverage category, the rack is increasing from 8 fluid ounces to 12 fluid ounces. This does not include milk and fruit juice or fruit drinks. FDA is proposing to update the racks of canned fish from 55 grams to 85 grams and avocado from 30 grams to 50 grams. In the sugars and sweets product category, we are updating the rack for all other candies, syrups, and sugars. In addition to the racks, FDA is proposing to update. FDA is proposing to modify the racks of some product categories. FDA is modifying racks for existing products that do not have a significant increase or decrease from the 1993 racks. The decision to modify racks was based on requests from manufacturers, comments to the 2005 NPRM, and agency initiatives. FDA is proposing to decrease the rack for yogurt. Consumption data did show a decrease for yogurt, but not a change of 25% or more. FDA received a citizen's petition requesting that the rack for yogurt be decreased. FDA is also proposing to regroup the ice cream frozen yogurt, ice pops, and sherbet product categories. With the regrouping, all bulk ice cream, frozen yogurt, and fruit-flavored products, like the kind that you buy in tubs, will be grouped together. And all novelty products, such as ice cream sandwiches and ice pops, will be grouped together. FDA is proposing to decrease the rack for fruits used as ingredients, such as lemons and limes. To be consistent with the beverage category, FDA is proposing to increase the rack for drink mixes. FDA is also proposing to establish racks for products that are not currently in the regulations. FDA received requests from manufacturers for almost all of these products. Some of the products that FDA is establishing racks for are egg roll wrappers, crepes, scones, crumpets, pie shells and pastry sheets, and sugared eggs. FDA is proposing to expand the drink mix product category to include all drink mixes such as cocoa powder, iced tea mix, etc. There was not a specific product category for these products in the current regulations. FDA is also proposing to create new racks for seafood substitutes such as imitation crab meat, and to form a new product category for seasoning oils. Seasoning oils are all of the different types of oils available in the grocery store now, including olive oil, grapeseed oil, and sesame oil. Similar to the product category for seasoning oils, FDA is proposing a new product category for seasoning paste. These are the concentrated herb pastes that are available in the grocery store, such as garlic paste or ginger paste. Another new change to the racks is the rack for appetizers. USDA regulates the nutrition label for food products with meat. In their regulations, they have a rack for appetizers with meat, but FDA does not have a similar category in our regulations. This means that a mini pepperoni pizza has one rack because it is regulated by USDA, while a mini cheese pizza has a different rack because it is regulated by FDA. Establishing a rack for appetizers allows FDA to be consistent with what USDA is doing. FDA is also proposing to establish a rack for dry soup mixes and bouillons. An example of a dry soup mix is a packaged onion soup mix. FDA is also proposing to establish racks for powdered and liquid candies, after dinner confectionaries, and chutney. FDA is proposing to establish racks for dried vegetables, dried seaweed sheets, jalapeno peppers, pickled vegetables, and sprouts. The agency recognizes that changes in racks and the daily values will affect the eligibility of foods to bear nutrient content claims and health claims. Changes in the ability to make claims may be appropriate in light of the change in the amount of foods customarily consumed in the proposed rule. The agency requested comments relating to the change to the current claims that will be affected if the racks are finalized as proposed. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Well, thank you very much, Cherisa, for that wonderful presentation. We have our first question asked, where can they find more information on the racks?
On the current racks, you can find it on FDA's website. You can review the proposed rule on regulations.gov.
And we have another question that asks, can you address the availability of the nutrient content claims in the context of the racks?
We don't have too much information about that right now. We do allow for comment. Well, we did allow for comments on if people, on the relation between nutrient content claims and racks, and we're reviewing all of the comments for the final rule.
And we have a general question with regard to racks, and that question is, how does this relate to the reduction of obesity in the U.S.?
The racks allow you to see, well, the serving size allows you to see exactly how much you're eating from a product. So a consumer can make an informed decision about what product they choose. So basically, a consumer can pick up two different brands of the same type of product and decide which one they think will be healthier.
And then there's another question that asks for more clarification on racks with regard to different beverages. I know you covered that in your presentation. Perhaps you could explain that further.
Well, currently, right now, all beverages, including soda, milk, juice, have a rack of 8 fluid ounces. So if you get a 20-ounce bottle of soda in the grocery store or in a gas station, then it shows a 2.5 servings. We are proposing to increase the rack from 8 fluid ounces to 12 fluid ounces, so that now the 20-ounce bottle will have a serving size of 1 serving.
And I think we have time just for one more question, and that question related to the 200% rule. And how would it look when you have a rack that is 200% of the rack, a serving size?
If a product is 200% of the rack, then it's considered a dual column. Anything under or up to 200% is considered a single serving. So we're saying that anything less than 200% is 1 serving. Anything that is 200% or more is a dual column, because some products can be eaten by 1 person or some products are shared. So anything between 200 and 400%, we are proposing to make a dual column and not eliminate the manufacturer's option for labeling them as single servings.
And Cherisa, I want to thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. There's a lot of details in racks, and there's so much to understand about it. We thank you very much for the presentation. We will move on to our next presentation on label claims.